What's up, everybody? It's Dynasty Mir, Search for Uhuru. Now, this video might upset a lot of people, but it's time to have an honest dialogue in regards to what tangibles have been created by Pan-Africanism for American descendants of slaves, African descendants of slaves here in America, whatever you want to call it. Call it whatever you want. Let's not get into particulars. Call it whatever you want to call it. Again, it's time to have an honest conversation on what tangibles have been created for American descendants of slaves, African descendants of slaves through Pan-Africanism. Again, I see the chat room. You are more than welcome to respond and put your answers in the chat room, because again, we have to stop with what I call the Pan-African babble. We have to stop. There is nothing that has been created that's tangible. Again, tangible, meaning legislation, Black Americans, since you guys are descendants of slaves, you are more than welcome to repatriate to this country. And what I mean by repatriate, not the repatriate that we see now, where Black Americans or Africans from Britain, Blacks from Britain or from the Caribbean, relocate to an African country. They aren't granted citizenship and they are treated no differently. They are treated no differently by African governments than white people, Chinese, or Lebanese. You're just seen as a foreigner. But the irony and the hypocrisy behind this is the slave dungeons, whether it be Cape Coast Castle, Elmina Castle, Goree Island, these structures are still in place and they attract tourists. They attract tourists every day. And they tell you, my brother, this is where your ancestors came from. And this is where they were shipped unwillingly. They were kidnapped, stolen, sold, and they were shipped from here to the New World. And we are happy that you have returned. Okay, I'm back. Thank you. Yes, I am the descendant of African slaves in the West. So therefore, can I get my citizenship? No, the conversation stops there. Again, there is nothing tangible that has been created for descendants of slaves through Pan-Africanism. Everything tangible that has been created has been through a, we'll say, Black American, our own struggle outside of, I will mention this, after the Haitian Revolution, white people were pretty much scared all over this globe. And therefore, with that being said, white people started to back off and ease up and change laws when it came to slavery. They started giving us more rights. When I say rights in quotation marks, because they weren't really rights. They just started to tolerate us a little bit more. After the Haitian Revolution, because of the fear that those Haitians struck in the hearts of white people all over this planet. But again, we've been having Pan-African conferences since the 1920s and 1930s. W.E.B. Du Bois, again, our leaders have been meeting with African leaders. Somebody sent me a video of a Pan-African conference from like 1992 or 2002 with Louis Farrakhan and some African leaders. And I'm trying to I want somebody to prove to me what tangible that is in place, legislation. Again, let's back up for a second. Let's back up for a minute. I see a lot of continental Africans getting upset at me and saying I'm wrong for supporting the ADOS movement, and saying, Dynast, when you come to Africa, we treat you well. We do this for you, Dynast. We look out for you. We feed you. We house you. Absolutely. Thank you. Absolutely. But I'm not talking about me as an individual. I'm talking about Black Americans, ADOS, African descendants of slaves. I'm talking us as a group. How have we benefited from Pan-Africanism? And I'm a Pan-Africanist, and people who are anti-Pan-Africanists or don't believe in Pan-Africanism will ask me this same question, and I will, babble and start just coming up with just all types of just random tangibles that aren't tangibles. They gave us DeVito. Okay, that's one. We got DeVito. Okay, so we can listen to DeVito and Burna Boy, DeVito, Burna Boy. Who else? Tiwa Savage. Is that her name? Tiwa Savage. Is it Tiwa Savage? Tiwa Savage. Is that her name? DeVito. Runtime. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. But seriously, Burna Boy. Okay. Whatever. But seriously, I want somebody to show me, put in the comment section, Runtown. I'm sorry, did I say Runtime? I'm sorry, Runtown. No, it's Tiwa Savage. Tiwa Savage. Hold on, it's Tiwa Savage. That's her name. Hold on now. I know I'm not tripping. Tiwa Savage. I'm telling you, it's Tiwa Savage. Hold on. She's a Nigerian singer. We got her. We got Tiwa Savage. I'm asking, what resources have been given to the descendants of slaves through Pan-Africanism? Because, people are saying that we need to come together and we need to do this and do that. And Dynast, you need to meet with this president over here and that president over there. Thank you. Celebrities aren't tangibles. Thank you very much. But I do be enjoying the hell out of DeVito and Runtown and Burna Boy. I love Burna Boy. So yes, celebrities are not tangibles, but good try. Because I can name the individuals, the institutions that have been active in regards to Black Americans, descendants of slaves, that we have put in place on the continent. I can name the legislation. Let's start with Booker T. Washington, African Exclusionary Act. After the Panama Canal was completed and people of African descent, after they worked on the canal and they saw how much money you could make via U.S. wages, they wanted to immigrate to America and make more money. The United States government said, we do not want any more Negroes coming to the continent. Booker T. Washington met with the president of the United States at that time, met with politicians and said, this is wrong. We need Africans. We need to give Africans the opportunity, people of African descent, the opportunity to immigrate into America. He went to the Booker T. Washington. I'm telling you, Booker T. Washington is the baddest man. I mean, Booker T. Washington was probably him, Booker T. Washington, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Sheikh Amadou Bamba. Booker T. Washington is top 3 in regards to the baddest Black men that have ever walked the face of this earth. Guys, I don't think I'm going to call the embassy today. I'm not going to call. What time is it? Okay. I might call one embassy today. I just might. I don't know if I want to call the embassy today. I might call one. So Africans, in fact, Black people who aren't African American descendants of slaves, they have benefited a whole lot from the blood equity that we have put in, the blood equity that we have in America, but it's not being reciprocated, and that's not Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism has to be reciprocated. Now, African leaders, because of the likes of Booker T. Washington, have been able to come to America and be educated and then go back to Africa. But once they're educated and they go back, they forget about us. So again, every Black person on this planet, this African person on this planet, has benefited from the Black American struggle. But I want you to tell me how the Black American descendant of slaves, American, whatever you want to call it, ADOS for short, what is in place from us? What is in place for us that's tangible, in which we can benefit from? What is in place? Nadup, shout out to Nadup. Thank you for the super chat. But I want to show you guys something. I want to show you this video. So there is hold on, let me pull it up. There's a lady. She's a British, I think she's Black British, and she's repatriated. Again, I put it in quotation marks. Repatriated to Gambia. Her name is Shakina Shanidu. Now, this is a Black woman who identifies as African, who realizes her roots, who is a descendant of the slave trade, who has relocated to Gambia. And many times, all us Black American descendants of slaves, all we're asking for is citizenship. I mean, we come to your country, you tell us how we were kidnapped from your country. You say this slave dungeon is where you were. You know, you guys were kept in these conditions. You know, you were peeing and defecating on yourselves. You know, some of you guys didn't make it. A lot of you guys will die right here in this slave dungeon. You know, you were sleeping in crap and doo-doo. I'm trying to keep it PG. You will be housed in these slave dungeons for, you know, months at a time. And before that, you guys were marched from the interior. So you guys were chained, marched to the interior against your own will. So you were kidnapped or stolen. So you were marched from the interior to the slave dungeons. You know, then you know, they would tell us about the different rituals. You know, you were marched around a tree so you could forget what happened. You know, we will give you a spiritual bath to purify you before you were sent off on the boats. They will put you in the holding cell, you know, whether it's Elmina Castle, Cape Coast Castle, Gory Island. So you guys were kept there, and just the conditions, you know, you guys had to pee on each other. There was no air. It was hot. A lot of you guys didn't make it. You died right there in the slave castle. You guys died right there. And then you guys were shipped off on the boat. Same conditions. You were on the boats, bottom of the boats. You know, you were crapping on yourselves, throwing up on yourselves. You know, they will, you know, the slave master would take pig slop, stuff it in your mouth. You know, you got to America, you know, slavery, chattel slavery, Reconstruction era, Jim Crow, war on drugs. Then we come back to America. We come back. I'm sorry, we come back to Africa. We come back. You tell us this story. And you say, okay, I am African. I realize my Africanity. I realize it. I realize my Africanity. I am African. My ancestors were shipped from Goree Island. They were shipped from Goree Island. And the conditions, oh my God. With that being said, I want to be Senegalese. I want to be African. I want to be Ghanaian. I want to be Gambian. You know, I got the DNA done, and, you know, I know my tribe is Balanta, Mende, Yoruba, Igbo, Fulani, Hausa. So with that being said, can I have citizenship? Well, you know, I mean, we know your situation, your plight, but nah, you got to get in line with the Chinese, the Lebanese, the Indian. You got to get that in that same line. And to prove my point, let me play this video real quick. Let me share the screen. Let me play this video for you guys. You know my point. Yeah, the super chat button is right there. Hit that super chat button. Shout out to Nadoop. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you, Nadoop. Thank you. But I'm proving a point. And that's the issue. That's the issue. That's the issue. You can get citizenship. Let me play this video for you guys. Hold on. Let me play this video. Let me share the screen. Hold on. Come on. Let me play. I want you guys to listen to this. And this is what I'm talking about. This is that BS I'm talking about right here. This is the BS. Hold on. Here she is right here. Beautiful sister, Shakina Chanidu. Beautiful sister. Hold on. This her? Beautiful sister. Absolutely beautiful. Now, I want you guys to listen to this. We had an update meeting last night on what was presented to the Constitutional Review Commission in Gambia as part of our citizenship campaign. And Fran recorded some of it. We are getting there slowly. So you have descendants of slaves, I believe the sisters from Britain, who realizes her Africanity, goes back to Gambia, is contributing to the Gambian economy. You know, she's a descendant of slaves. She wants to come back and reconnect to Gambia. So all she's asking for is, Gambian, how about you recognize me as an African? You know our situation. In fact, stop the show. If it weren't for roots, nobody would even know where Gambia is at. So you got the Kunta Kinte story. Gambia is the place from where Kunta Kinte came from. Toby. Right? It's Toby, right? So Roots Part 1, Roots Part 2. Toby, Kunta Kinte. It was us, DOS, American descendants of slaves, African descendants, whatever you want to call it, who put Gambia on the map. If it wasn't for Roots, no one would even know where Gambia was at. So we put Gambia on the map. The descendants of Kunta Kinte come back. Hold on, let me turn this up. Science, policy, and strategy, but there's also vocational skills. Let me rewind it. But the descendants of Kunta Kinte come back. And Gambians want to play stupid and not even want to give these sisters and brothers citizenship. Let me play this video. Teachers, medical staff, professional training, holistic health, science, policy, and strategy. So right now she's going over a plan that she had to present to the Gambian government. Now this is the point I'm making. It's 2019. We done had all these Pan-African conferences and meetings of the minds and, you know, strategic sessions. But in 2019, they have to present something to the Gambian government to plead their case to give them citizenship.
But there's also vocational skills such as trade, hospitality, business.
So they're like, look, we're gonna bring vocational skills, trade. I mean, all the stuff we've, acquired, the skills from being under slavery. For so long, the technology, the skills, we're gonna bring it to you guys in a blackface. So you guys don't have to beg for the Chinese and, the Indians, Lebanese. Us black people will bring it to you. Descendants of slaves, descendants of Kunta Kinte, who came from Gambia. Toby. Just give us citizenship.
Mechanics, all different types of people are here. Lots of different skills. And those skills can be used to train people as well as, other things,
See, we want to help build you Gambians up, and we are sincere because we are African. But why are you giving us such a tough time knowing that we are descendants of Kunta Kinte, Toby? You want to give us such a tough time just to get citizenship.
Build up the economy of the country as well, because we can bring different businesses to the country as well. And these skills can be woven into the fabric and development of the Gambia. So it's all these countries I'm trying to say to them, we don't just want citizenship for the sake of it.
Thank you. We just don't want citizenship for the sake of it. Which, you know what, you're owed the citizenship, but that's okay. Like people say, oh man, all these Pan-Africanists, they've been on the continent putting in work for so long. So why in 2019 is this citizenship situation for descendants of slaves even an issue?
But there's two reasons. One, we are entitled to it.
Say that again. And see, when I bring this, hold on, let's rewind that.
Citizenship for the sake of it, but there's two reasons. One, we are entitled to it.
Like I said, every descendant of slavery is entitled to citizenship in an African country. I've been saying that, and you continental Africans, you guys get so butthurt and like, oh, you guys, you keep being the victims. You Black Americans want everything given to you. I'm saying the same thing that this sister right here is saying. We are entitled to citizenship, period, because of our situation. But I get labeled being entitled. I get labeled asking for handouts. I've been labeled being a spoiled brat just for asking for citizenship. And this sister right here, she said it herself. And I've been saying the same thing. ADOS is entitled to citizenship. Okay, we'll be specific, to any country that was complicit, or any region, area, whatever you want to call it, that was complicit in the slave trade in Africa, period. And she said it, I've been saying it, but absolutely.
Two, we are contributing to the country. So some of the hurdles and struggles.
Hold on, she said two. Let me she said for two.
But there's two reasons. One, we are entitled to it.
Right.
And two, we are contributing to the country.
Right. So one, you're entitled to it. And two, you're contributing to the country. Again, there's a story of Jamaican family in Ghana. They opened up a restaurant. I forgot the name of the restaurant. It's like Jerk Center, or is a Jamaican restaurant in Ghana. Very good. I actually ate there when I was in Accra. They're hiring locals. They're descendants of slaves. Why can't they get their citizenship?
So some of the hurdles and struggles, I had to let them understand where we're coming from and why we're here. So we're often not accepted in the countries of our birth.
Stop right there. So basically, we have to, instead of just being descendants of slaves and coming back to Gambia or Senegal or Ghana or Nigeria, we have to pretty much come as refugees. And they have to present a case as a refugee. Now, I know for a fact Gambia, I know they have a embassy in America and an embassy in Britain where she's from. They know the struggles that people of African descent, descendants of slaves, go through in Britain. So the fact that she even has to present or pretty much claim refugee status to the Gambian government is BS.
Still regarded as less than due to our race and our colour. And we all know the story of what happened in the UK with most of us. We face discrimination in every facet of our life. We return home and we're still facing alienation and non-recognition.
We return home to Africa. Listen to her. We return home to Africa and we're still alienated. Again, descendants of Kunta Kinte, Toby, roots. If it wasn't for roots, no one would know where Gambia is at. That's what I'm talking about when I'm saying that there are no tangibles for the descendants of slaves. Descendants of slaves put roots on the map. We come back to, we put Gambia on the map with roots and Kunta Kinte. We come back to Gambia. We can't even get citizenship.
Because they're still not seeing us as Africans. And our struggle.
She said because they're alienating us is they do not see us as African. Guys, this is what I'm talking about. This is the conversation. And see, this is the thing. I used to be a romanticized Pan-African. I used to romanticize Pan-Africanism. Now I'm dealing with the reality of Pan-Africanism, and the gloves are off. I'm not playing any games anymore. I'm speaking truth. Or do not listen to these romanticized Pan-Africans. Tell them specifically what legislation, what is in place, what tangibles are in place for descendants of slaves. Don't let them give you any vague answers. Don't let them start tap dancing and stuttering and, Marcus Garvey. None of that. Great. Love Marcus Garvey. Love our brother. Love our Pan-Africanists. That's great. But what is in place? What tangibles are in place for descendants of slaves in Africa? And the answer is nothing. But these African leaders, wherever they're at, they could come to America, go to our universities, get our education, the affirmative action, all the benefits that American descendants of slaves, African American descendants of slaves, bled and died over, they have access to. But damn it, we just asking for citizenship. We're just asking for citizenship. But we got to go through red tape, hurdles, booby traps, everything.
We continue here if we are not regarded as African descendants and citizens. So it's really important that they weave something into the Constitution so that we are recognized as African. We know
right. So she said she wants to put something in the Constitution where they're at the very least recognized as African. At the very least. In 2019, we still have to have this conversation. But the Pan-Africanists, the romanticized Pan-Africanists, want to act like that, that there's something tangible in place for Pan-Africans, for ADOS. And again, on an individual level, I've been treated very well as an individual Pan-Africanist in Africa. People have looked out for me. People have taken care of me. But now it's to the point now, we need to put something in place for all descendants of slaves, not just Dynasty Amir and his individual experience, for everybody.
Everybody else to recognize as well. So the citizenship clause, because they're rewriting the Constitution, this is the right time for us to say this is what we want within it as well. So we propose that we have an exception clause within the new Constitution.
Okay, so she's proposing that we get an exception for the DOS. An exception, because again, it doesn't matter if you're descended of Kunta Kinte or you come from Norway, you grouped in the same group.
And that exception clause should be for us only, descendants of the enslaved. I don't care about everybody else. I'm talking about an exception clause just for us, recognizing that our ancestors came from here, and those of us that are returning.
Again, our ancestors, and we're returning. Descendants of Kunta Kinte coming back, but they don't recognize us. But damn it, when Roots was bringing tourism to Gambia, it was all good. But when we started asking for just citizenship, oh, it's a problem now.
learning, we are part of those people that were taken from here. So we need a special clause to welcome us home and to weave us into the fabric of Gambia. We propose that this clause is generational. So we should, if my children or my grandchildren or great-grandchildren come home, they shouldn't have to be standing here like me doing the same thing. It should be generational. It should be into the law of the constitution that will last a long time. That it's generational. Anybody that's descended from their slave coming home.
So in 2019, we're still begging African governments to recognize the descendants of slaves. In 2019.
They should get.
But the Pan-Africanists, the romanticized Pan-Africanists, will argue you up and down that there's some tangible
Citizenship within that fast track period. We propose that the recognition of the descendants of the enslaved returning home, as I just said. We propose that should be fast track. And at the moment, the constitution that we've got married, if you marry a Gambian, you can apply for citizenship within 7 years.
So if you marry a Gambian, descendant of slave, you marry a Gambian, you can apply for citizenship within 7 years. Now listen to this next part.
Living here continuously.
And you have to live there continuously.
Not married, it's 15 years.
If you're not married, if you're a descendant of the slave trade and you want to live in Gambia, you're a descendant of Kunta Kinte from Roots, Toby. You got to wait 15 years before you can even apply for citizenship in Gambia. But again, the romanticized Pan-Africanists want to say, oh, there's tangibles out there. Okay.
No, that's too long. With all what we're doing here, 15 years is a long time. Some of us might not even make that 15 years before we're recognized to get a passport, voting right.
So 15 years, descendant of Kunta Kinte. 15 years to get passport, voting rights. But damn it, when Roots was popping and all the tourists were coming in, it was all good. But once we read Roots and we found out we were descendants of Kunta Kinte and, we wanted our passports and citizenships, they said, oh, you got to wait 15 years.
And everything else within the country. It needs to be quicker than that because that's part of our birthright. So I'm proposing to them that between 2 and 4 years is a good fast track period. I'm
going to say this, 2 to 4 years is even too long.
After continuous residency in Gambia. I mean, I don't know what you think about that. I didn't want to go too low and I didn't want to go too high.
Yeah, you're being way conservative. I mean, the gloves are off. If you are a descendant of slaves and you come to an African country that was involved in the slave trade, an African country who is still making money off of the slave trade, meaning they will take you to the slave castle that your ancestors were shipped out of, charge you the same price as white people. Now, you need to get that immediately. You need to get that citizenship immediately.
2 and 4 years will be a good period for us to improve our work here. Now, I said, we're not just coming to say we want something, we got some obligations too. Some of the obligations that we'll set up language classes and we'll learn the language. The language is not just about communicating, the language is part of our spirit like Africans as well. And the more we speak our language is the more we embrace our Africanism. It's really important that we speak our own tongue.
I agree with learning the language, absolutely. But at the end of the day, we were disconnected from it against our own will. That's why, all this negotiating and again, we were disconnected from our language and our culture, and we did not choose that. It was taken away from us.
We've been forced to speak somebody else's tongue, but it's really important that we speak our own tongue. We will learn and understand any cultural nuances. Because we've been away, there's a lot we need to learn about coming home and being back in Africa, but also we need to learn about our own spiritual self as Africans as well. We will adhere to the laws of the Gambia, of course, we have to because we're going to be living here. We will willingly offer our vast scale for the development of the country. Now, the government have a national development plan. I don't know if anybody's seen it. It's a very, very good development plan on paper, but whether it's going to be enforced appropriately, I don't know. But I said to them, we can contribute towards that because we have a lot of the skills that the development plan is talking about in terms of developing Africa. We can help with that. But we can only really help with that if we recognise us as citizens. That's going to be really important. And we'll continue to encourage attorneys to come to
Okay. That's it. So this is the point I'm making. This is the point I'm making. I mean, this is, I'm just saying, this is, I'm giving you guys the proof. We need to stop with this romanticism when it comes to Pan-Africanism. We need to just stop. We need to stop criticizing ADOS. I'm just saying, we need to stop. I mean, the Pan-Africans, leave the ADOS alone. Let them do their thing. I understand where they're coming from. I have empathy for ADOS. That's why I support it. Because it's, why would you be against it? Why would you be against the ADOS? Again, and people are like, Dynas, you're not helping the situation. You're not helping it. We've been having Pan-African conferences since 1920, and this sister has to put together a damn PowerPoint in 2019 to convince the Gambian government to give them citizenship when they're going to be contributing. You know, they're going to be great citizens. They're going to go into add value to the Gambian community. And not only that, they're descendants of slaves. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I need help. She has to put together a formal proposal to beg for citizenship in Gambia. When if it weren't for Roots and Alex Haley, nobody would even know where Gambia is at. So all the work that ADOS, African American, whatever you want to call it, descendants of slaves, have done for Gambia in regards to bringing attention to Gambia, the story of Kunta Kinte and Roots. In turn, they tell you, descendant of slave, descendant of Kunta Kinte, we need a PowerPoint from you to consider giving you citizenship. I'm just saying. And again, I see people in the chat room, the Gambian government is not a standard bearer for Pan-Africanism. Okay, all I'm saying, again, this is my question. What tangible is in place for American descendants of slaves that was created through Pan-Africanism as a whole? That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. And I'm a Pan-Africanist. And I used to stutter and, you know, and basically the examples I would give were examples from my individual experience. I'm talking about what's in place for descendants of slaves as a whole. Because like I said, each African country, they all got embassies in DC. They know exactly what our situation is. They are in tune. They know what's going on. Jewel, if it wasn't for ADOS, there would be no Pan-Africanism. Marcus Garvey, you have Martin Delany, ADOS. Then Marcus Garvey, okay, got ran out of Jamaica because they weren't feeling the Pan-African conversation. He had to go to Harlem amongst the ADOS to get Pan-Africanism cracking. Let's keep it real. Ghana repatriation came from, in quotation marks, because a lot of these repatriates in Ghana aren't even citizens. So I don't know what to call that. It came from Pan-Africanism. Or it came from really ADOS. Thank you. Jamaicans rejected Garvey twice. They weren't trying to hear his message. Let's just keep it real. So he had to come to America. In fact, he came to America to meet with Booker T. Washington, but Booker T. Washington passed away, like literally maybe 3 or 4 months before Garvey came. He was scheduled to meet with Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Washington passed away. So again, I know a lot of people get upset by what I say. ADOS has created the environment for Pan-Africanism. And all we're saying is it's not being reciprocated and nothing tangible has been created. He is now. He's a hero now. Just like Cujo Akopong. Listen, they hated Martin Luther King Jr. They hated him. They called him a communist. But now he's a hero after the fact. All I'm saying is when Marcus Garvey was Marcus Garvey, Jamaicans rejected him. He had to come to Harlem. And Pan-Africanism was created in ADOS territory, if that makes sense. That's all I'm saying. Man, all this, Dynasty, what business do you do in Africa? Look, man, we're past that. Like, it's just not about Dynasty. It's, again, there is well documented in regards to the engagement of ADOS with Africa, and it's not being reciprocated. Well documented. We need to stop. Grassroots. All this has been done already. That's what I'm saying. It's been, listen, like I said, the burden of Pan-Africanism has been on the ADOS. Because everybody benefits more from the ADOS struggle versus it being the other way around, period. Prove to me that I'm wrong. Sheikh Amadou Bamba was not a Pan-Africanist, and Samora Touré was not a Pan-Africanist. Let's just keep it real. Name the institutions that Africans have made for the ADOS. Name the programs. I can name several programs and institutions that ADOS have created for Africans, but name one that ADOS has created for ADOS. Again, there's nothing tangible that has been created for ADOS. Those are just the facts. You get upset, you get mad, but those are the facts. Prove me if I'm wrong. Name several. Okay, here we go. You have the AAI, King of Abyssinia. I guess you're from Ethiopia. You have the African American Institute, which is right here in America. It was created by Black Americans for Africans for leadership. You have fucking a Black American created the Ethiopian Air Force. You have the AME Church, which is all over Africa. Hell, if you're an African immigrant, I shouldn't have to explain what's in place for you guys. I'm just saying. Should I continue? I'm just saying. Oprah built it. Here we go. As much as I do not like Oprah, I mean, she's cool. I mean, how can I put this the correct way? I don't agree with Oprah. That's better. She built schools. Little John's built schools. So ADOS has been putting in work for the continent. It's just not being reciprocated. And all we ask for is citizenship. That's all we're asking for. Citizenship in return. No land, no money, just, hey, recognize us. Can we get a citizenship? You told me that my ancestors were shipped from this slave dungeon against their own will. I'm a descendant. I come back. Can I get a passport? That's all we're asking for. We get looked at crazy. We got to get in the same queue in the same line as the Indian, the Lebanese, the Chinese. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And, I just don't want this to be about me. I'll be fine. I'm going to get mine. So for future generations of ADOS, there's something in place for them. King of Abyssinia, dude, we've been having, okay, here, why don't you sit down with someone who has the authority to do it? Listen, we've been having Pan-African conferences since the early 1900s. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But what do people, what about couples that move for, yes, you are ignoring the whole marrying an African woman thing. Okay, yes, I can marry an African woman. I'm just saying, what about couples like Sister Elaine is in here. So Elaine already has a husband. So Elaine and her husband and her family come go to Africa. What's in place for them? There you go. In fact, it was Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Washington was the one that exposed what King Leopold was doing in Congo. It was Booker T. Washington and somebody else. And goddamn, that put pressure on Belgium, and it stopped that. That's what I'm saying. Then listen, I called a Congo embassy the other day, and they talked to me crazy. In fact, hold on. Let me read the article. Hold on. Booker T. Washington, Congo. It was Booker T. Washington or was somebody else. Hold on. But it was it was an ADOS. Here we go. Booker T. Washington, early involvement in African affairs. Let's pull this article up. Let me read this article to you guys, and we'll close out. I'm glad you brought that up in regards to Booker T. Washington. I'm telling you, man, Booker T. Washington is one of the, I would say, top 5 baddest black men that have ever lived. Now, I need to put my list together, but Booker T. Washington's top 5. Hold on, here we go. Let me go to it. Here we go. Booker T. Washington has traditionally been excluded from history of Pan-Africanism. Now, Booker T. Washington was a Pan-Africanist before Marcus Garvey. And Marcus Garvey wanted to meet Booker T. Washington, but unfortunately he passed away. Here we go. In the next series of posts, we attempt to reconstruct the history of Washington's development as a Pan-Africanist from 1895 to 1915. During this period, he developed relationships with various African nationalists. So again, Booker T. Washington reached out to African nationalists, and Pan-Africanism played a direct role. Hold on, here we go. A direct role in advocating against the cruel acts in the Congo Free State and European colonization in Africa. Let me finish. He served as the key strategist in the Liberian crisis. So Liberia was about to be colonized by France or England. Booker T. Washington stepped in and stopped it. And with precision opposed and debunked the African exclusion measure. What's the African exclusion measure? Like I said, America did not want people of African descent immigrating into America. And guess what? Booker T. Washington is the one that stopped it. So all the African immigrants, black immigrants who are in America today, you need to thank ADOS, Booker T. Washington. That's all I'm saying. And all we're asking for is citizenship. That's all I'm saying. But anyways, you guys, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. You know, make sure you go to search for Huru on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And again, I'm a Pan-Africanist. Pan-Africanism has not created anything tangible for ADOS, period. Prove me wrong. Watch this video, you know, respond, message me, prove me wrong. And again, I'm not talking just about me personally. I'm talking about for ADOS on as a group, not just my individual situation, because I'm going to be fine, but I'm fighting for all you guys. Until next time, family, Dynasty, search for Huru. Peace.